Assalamu alaikum jami'an. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Lama Al-Tawil. I'm a dermatology resident from the joint program of the Central Region and the supervisor of the Dermatology Student Club under the Saudi Society of Dermatology and Dermatologic Surgery. First of all, I want to begin by thanking the club for this tremendous effort they have done to start such a webinar series. And of course, I'd like to thank the Saudi Society of Dermatology and Dermatologic Surgery, specifically Dr. Sami Swaidan, for believing in their potential and the importance of such a webinar to be run and conducted. Our lecture today is a bit different. We're not going to talk about dermatology. We're not going to talk about how you go into it, what are the topics. Rather, we want to talk about a different aspect. We want to touch upon the personality aspect because we truly believe that this is something that's going to complement the entire establishment as a whole. And we specifically chose to talk about leadership today. Now, this lecture was supposed to be run by Rozan Al-Banawi today, but for reasons out of control, she wasn't able to attend with us. And I think this came in the right time because this truly shows her leadership skills, of which she has the interconnectivity, she has the confidence in the people in the field that are as knowledgeable and as good as her. And at the same time, our lecturer of the day or guest speaker has also shown his leadership potential because one, we really did contact him at very last notice and he was kind enough to accept. So one, there's no ego, it's been completely out of the picture. And number two, he really demonstrated that he truly cares about this topic as a whole or leadership as a whole. Now, our leader or our speaker of the day is Marwan Al-Jahani, and Marwan is the CEO of Transform Consulting Company, and he's been kind enough to give us some of his time today. Now, the lecture is also different because we don't want to be passive and just give you the information. We really need your interaction with us. So please make sure you utilize the chat box because a lot of questions are going to be addressed. And the other important thing is if you feel like you want to speak, just raise your hand and we're going to just unmute you because we really need you to be engaged with us. So without further ado, Marwan, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lama. First of all, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi jami'an. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Thank you everyone for showing up on your weekend and on your resting and relaxing time. And I'm honored actually to be part of this. And when Rosanna called me last night and also Dr. Lama called me, I said yes, with a great pleasure actually to connect with the future leader and for the current leaders who are actually working in a very important field. And today, as Lama mentioned, that we will have kind of perspective and knowledge and let's say shed light around leadership, which is a very crucial and essential skills that everyone has to have. Because leadership, it's not just for those who are on the hierarchy, on the highest position on that pyramid, but actually it's for everyone. Whether actually they are in the workplace or in a society or in a family. And inshallah, we will talk about it in more details. One rule that actually I want to mention, and I want to have kind of an agreement with you all, is now for the next, let's say, few minutes, 1 hour and a half, I want you to be here with us with a beginner mindset, with a beginner mind, like having the whole curiosity, whatever thought you have, whatever knowledge you have around leadership, around self-development, just leave it aside a little bit and bring your whole self here with empty heart, empty mind, and be curious to know, curious to learn, curious to explore, curious to deliver and to discover. And as Dr. Lama mentioned, we will have it, inshallah, kind of interactive session, and please feel free to write to the chat and we will be responsive to this. And if you have a question, please raise your hand and so the team can allow that. So Dr. Lama, would you start having question or you want me to start immediately?
Well, I think we can start with defining what leadership is, so please go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so this question actually, it's kind of a philosophical question. What is, who is leader and what is leadership? And the other philosophical question is leader born or they gain that skills, natural or neutral? For sure, leaders are born. There is no leaders coming from the sky and be leader. كلنا كبشر كلنا كبشر نولد. This is the first principle that we agreed on. But the question is now, those who believe that there is different, so many schools, so many literatures around leaders just by nature, it's kind of DNA in their blood. But in reality, actually, there is another literature, another opinion that leadership is learnable, and it's a skills that everyone can gain. And this is actually where I tend to, and where actually the whole, the new literature, the new schools, the new thought leaders actually moving towards, that leadership is now, it's a gain skill that everyone can learn it. And if we want to see what is leadership is, and one of the definition that I truly believe in, that leader who is that person who take responsibility of his or her world. Taking responsibility of your world is the most important element of leadership. And also another definition, which is crucial and important, leadership is a series of behaviors. You cannot be leader overnight. Or if you believe that I can be leader when I become manager, section head, CEO, chairman. No, it's a skills that you deliberately having the intention to learn. Certain skills, certain values, certain principles, and of course, a certain mindset. That if you have the intention to be, and first of all, we need to know what is leadership is. So that I take responsibility of my world is the leadership. So how can I take responsibility of that world that I'm living in? What is my world? Is it just myself and my family, or it's a society, or even it's a work place that I am in? And even if we go to the context of the workplace, what is responsibility that I'm taking care of? Is it now to take care of my colleagues, take care of my tasks, take care of my patients, take care of my even my superior or my bosses? So defining that responsibility and be there, be ready to give, be there and be ready to contribute. That is what it contributing leadership. And I always say, to gain leadership skills, always contribute to something that not related to any kind of income, like do free work, go and join club like this, go and join whatever non-for-profit foundation and volunteer there, because the motive will be the impact rather than the income. So having this part and this element or this thought in your mind, definitely it will create a shift. Now, if you have, for example, fixed, let's say, mindset or a way, and let's imagine, have it as a metaphor that you are on a ship and you are leading that ship on the sea. If you moving one way, then you will go to, for example, to the north. But if you change just 1 centimeter of your way, that compass that you are having, just you shift it 1 centimeter left at a time. Every day, just you change 1 centimeter to the different side. Imagine after 2 weeks, where are you going to head? It's going to take you to different destination. And this is actually, you are as an individual now, you are walking towards one destination. So what is your compass that create and take you to the destination that you wanted to have? Who you wanted to be on 2025, on 2027, 2030, for example. This is, yes, it's kind of a nice question to have, to think and dream. But the most important thing is what I have today. And there is also another quote saying that life is just in the now. Yesterday that we don't have it because it's just past tomorrow. we don't have it. It's mystery. But what you have is now, what you can do now, today, in this moment, to create that sense of leadership that you wanted to have. So leadership, if we go and see, it's a state of mind. It's a mindset that everyone can gain. So now when I know leadership is responsibility of taking responsibility of my world, and or it's a series of behaviors, that I know leadership is a journey that it will take me every day to show up. Whether I like it or not, I have to show up every single moment, because this is the leadership that I believe in. And is it leadership for a certain group of people, for male or for a female, or for older people or younger people? All that questions comes in. No, it is for every human being. Whether you are man or woman, old or young, leadership is for everyone. Once you have that belief to take care of your responsibility, to care of your role, and you know that a certain of skills or behaviors, then that you are on the right path. Then we go to the second element, which is people around you. Like taking responsibility, that mean is taking responsibility also for people around me. So how am I taking care of them? How am I showing up for them? How am I being there for them? So here are two important elements: yourself and others. So how you combine both together, and being yourself there, and at the same time you are taking care of their needs, taking care of their ambition, their goals, taking care of what do they want to achieve. Yani, simply to say, sometimes your role as a leader is just to pave the way for them, not to be in front, just to pave the way for them.
I totally agree with you. And on a philosophical point of view as well, when we were just talking, I think this is the thing that creates the different styles of leaders out there. You know, like you have different personality styles, but like when it comes to the leadership and the world of leaders, they're also divided into like, is this a person who's an idealist? Is this a person who's a pragmatist? So I think determining the different styles of the leaders you're dealing with is something that's going to show you their perspective on how they're going to lead and how they're going to deal with people. So I think you can elaborate more on these different four styles, I guess, before we can go into the deeper things you were talking about from both sides, like as a leader and as a person who's being led.
Great question. Yes. There are different style of leadership. Now, when we believe on that fundamental base, leadership is for everyone, and everyone can be a leader. And it's not related to a position. So whatever you are in that context, either family, friends, society, work, whatever context that you are in, you can be a leader. So if we now have this as a basic and the fundamental agreement that we have, then we go then to see what are the behavior or style of leadership. There are also so many different school of thought talking about leadership and talking about styles, talking about what are the best. And also from my point of view is it depends on the context. It depends on the situation that you are in. Yes, you can. And for example, one of the, let's say, school of thought, they are talking about style. You can lead from the front, like you are on the frontliners leading your team, leading your people. So you are showing up on the front of them, and you are be the number one on that group. And that is sometimes is needed and sometimes is good. So you need to direct the whole group to a certain direction. So leading in front, that one style of leadership. Sometimes that you need to go and leading from behind. You don't have to be in front of the camera. You don't have to be in front of the people. You don't have to be in the front to be leaders, but you can lead the whole group from behind, Like you're not showing up as the one who making decision, but you are helping them from the back to allow the space for them to lead, allow the space for them to take decisions. So this is also another style of leadership, that leading from behind, and also leading from beside. Now, from with my colleagues, for example, how can I co-deliver, co-lead the department? For example, I have, for example, 3-4 team members, and how can I now depends on them 100% and they depend on me 100%, and we all co-create, and that co-leading from beside. If I fall down, I know they are there for me, and if they fall down, I know I'm there for them. So how can I be beside them, either group or even beside one-to-one as individuals? So leading also from beside, this is also an element. An important part that I wanted to mention here also as a fundamental perspective. You know, we are living in a world of complexity, and there are so many literatures about complexity that we are living in, and there are also talking about leadership in a complexity. Now, having a leadership is kind of a complex skill. It's not complicated. I'll give you the difference. What is different between complicated and complex? Complicated stuff, like it's a very detailed element, but it's very difficult to make. Example, building a car. It's a very complicated, but you have a menu, you have a script that if you move from one point to another, then at the end of that, you will create a car. But it's very complicated system. It's not a complex system. Why? What's the difference? Complexity, there is, we don't know what is the cause and effect. So whatever effect that we don't know what is the cause of it, like parenting, by the way, it's a kind of a complex system. Leadership, it's a complex system. We don't have a manual that we can know how to lead others. We don't have a manual on how to raise your kids, but we have kind of an indication overall to tell me where can I head. So now we need to know that there is difference between complicated system and complex system. And we are here in a complex system on how to lead, on what to lead. So being open and vulnerable to the whole complexity is essential and important, that to have it as a mindset, and gain and learn so many skills, so many perspectives, so many behaviors where I can use and have like those tools, those skills actually as a tool for me, and I can use it whenever that is needed.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are muted, please.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with you in that sense, and I think in the community we're in, specifically in the medical, like the medical field, and like you're dealing mostly with, I mean, in this session at least, or per se, most of the attendees are probably going to be students or interns. And I think when it comes to the different styles you're going towards or you're taking, I don't think it's something where you fixate towards one. I mean, one person or an individual would probably need to take the front role, and then I probably in a different setting have to take the back role to allow creativity to happen. And then probably, I think, I'm not sure, like, but from what I understood from you're saying, I think probably in such an environment, probably the side to side works most, or it takes up probably 70% of the time when it comes to taking up a leader position. And I think what you're mentioning is a very important point. I disagree to the being upfront all the time. I don't like this as an attitude, because people, it's very critical to differentiate, I guess, in my opinion, is when you're taking up that role upfront. Some people would change it to an idea where, okay, I'm the boss, you have to do whatever it is I want to do. And then everyone in the team are going to go like, okay, you're forcing me to do this thing. And the moment you're forcing the person, when it comes in a commando kind of thing, no one's going to do anything. So they're just going to wait for the job to be done and get it over with. You know what I mean? They're not really going to be that creative in it. So I don't know, do you agree with me in the sense of having to incorporate all of them and then just like sticking to one style as a predominant form of style? I think this is a good question also before you can answer for the participants to either agree or disagree. So I think 20 seconds, 10 seconds for you guys. Just tell us a yes or no. Which kind of personality do you prefer, or from the ones that Marwan was talking about, you think is truly something that is incorporated in the establishment as an intern or as a student? So I guess you can chat away, or if you want to raise your hand to unmute, please go ahead.
I'm seeing someone now raise hand.
Okay, so Sumaya, please go ahead. I think you can unmute and talk.
Assalamu alaikum. I think it depends really on the situation. So this leader should be able to choose the way he's gonna react. In some situations, he needs to take the lead and be in the front rows, but not all the time. Or it's gonna be like they will feel always like he's controlling. He doesn't care about what his team members think or what's their input. So I think it's gonna be a good like يعني صفة كويسة في in the leader to know when to change his style of leadership.
100%.
بس شكرا.
Agreed.
We have a couple of participants in the chat box. So we have Lena saying, yeah, I definitely agree. It allows creativity to happen and it creates a healthy and safe environment, especially as a beginner, like a student or an intern. We have Nasser agreeing to this notion that a leader has not to be in the front line all the time. And then we have Yara agreeing with Sumaya as well. I 100% agree with this theory, especially as you said, like I like the terminology of mentioning that you're a beginner. So 100%, this is where you're kind of formulating yourself, tweaking yourself and understanding. So I don't know, what do you think, Marwan?
Yeah, I want to create actually a great distinction between two things. I'm not sure. First of all, do you hear my kids now screaming in the back? They are playing. They are leading beside. Yes, and yes to that. And I want to clarify one important element. Being dominant, being democratic or bureaucratic, and being the one who just force thought and direction, this is not leading from the front. Actually, this is leading on the top. Leading from front actually is sometimes is a vulnerable position. Why is that? I'll give you a metaphor that you can see it. Imagine that it's the position of the leader. He is in the front. He is saying, let's go to that point, and heading to that area, to that point, to that element as a group. And he in his second hand saying, come on with me on that direction. Look, this position actually is a kind of vulnerable for me to get hurt, for me to go immediately to my heart. People will criticize, people will disagree, people will say no to so many things. So, but I'm holding that space to link where we are heading with the group who wanted to go there. So I'm here having and serving the group to be kind of a bridge from where they are to where we want to go. But if I said, no, no one will talk, no one will have an opinion, I have to force you, this is leading from top, and actually no one agreed on. And if we go back again to that point of leading beside or leading front or leading behind, And let's take our example, Lama. Now, me and you, we are actually changing position from one to another. Now, sometimes that me and you, that we are co-leading, sometimes you are going behind and asking the question and leading behind, so you are directing where I head. And also sometimes that you be in the front and put your thought, put your opinion, that is leading from the front. So you showcase 3 types of leadership in just 5 to 10 minutes. And that's how actually we have awareness and flexibility on that. We are aware, where am I today? And I'm having flexibility that I can move from one point to another. And I agree with what Samia mentioned and what others mentioned, that is being aware and having the ability to move from one to another. Yes. Is there, do we have all of it? Yes, we do. We do have all that styles, but sometimes we are not aware, where are we? And this is the challenge. If, for example, that my style that I always be behind, I don't show up, I don't take action, I don't move, I don't speak up. I always speaking from the behind, I always just nudging, let's say, the system. And being in front all the time, or being in the back all the time, or being on the beside all the time, this is not recommended. And even now, if you are seeing it on your university, on your study, that what are you doing every single day? If you go and reflect, you will see yourself that is, you are leading from all the sides. Sometimes, yes, you lead from when you have a presentation, when you have a case study or a group study together, when you go and see a patient, from where you are leading. Once you are aware, you put the mindset and reflect on where you are now, and then you can take decision and move. And here actually come to my mind a very also an important point. And there is a book called Man's Search for Meaning. I highly recommend that everyone to read it. Is from psychologist, doctor from Austria. His name Viktor Frankl, and he survival from the Holocaust, and he talked about theory of the meaning, and from that meaning he kind of healed so many of his patients. So what he talked about, the reflection, the stimulus that we are living into a society, there are so many things that trigger us, provoke us, and he called it stimulus. And the response, that our reaction to that trigger, أي شيء مستفز أو أي شيء خارجي، أي حدث، هذا دائما يحفز سلوك داخلي عندنا. That is a stimulus and that is a response. So he said between the stimulus and response, there are big gap. And that gap actually define leadership. Why? لما يكون في شيء مستفز وأنا respond له على طول, that mean I go to my autopilot mindset. And going to autopilot mindset, I would do and say so many things that I might be regret about. And also I would do something that I wouldn't be happy. And also it shows behaviors that is not leadership. So between stimulus and response, that comes life. And here is the choice that I can make.
Exactly. As you said, this is something that's controllable by you. You cannot control the outer environment or the external situation that's going to happen, or the emergency that's going to pop up, no matter how trivial, by the way, it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a very bad situation. Sometimes it's the trivias of things. But I mean, like, how you respond or react to it is determined by you as an individual. And I think this is what creates the difference between me as a leader and a different person as a leader, because probably both of us are leaders, but like the style would be different and the approach would also be different, as you just mentioned.
Exactly. And this is a very essential thing. Yes. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. You cannot control the outer world at all. Things happen to you. But now what you can control your response and your and react to that stimulus. So when you have this level of awareness, you would know in a part of a second what you would say, how you would react, and then you can make a decision and you can make a choice. Every one of us that we are making hundreds and hundreds of decisions every single day. When you are show up in this room, that you made a decision. When you stick around, you are making a decision. When you leave, you are making a decision. So everyone is making decision every single moment. But those decisions now, you are putting on it an awareness. الآن تحط وعيك على هذه الاختيارات. Once you make your awareness on this, this is actually to make a huge difference on you as who is showing up as a leader. Who are you in your society, in your community, in your workplace, in your university? It will show up even to yourself, that you will learn on who you are. Again, لما نرجع نقول leadership is a set of behaviors that you will be aware of who you are. So imagine now you are aware of 50% of your responses. Wow, that is a very massive improvement, because I truly believe that most of us live into autopilot mindset. Whatever comes to us, we respond to it, regardless of it زي ما قالت لما إنه سواء positive or negative, we respond to it immediately without giving it an attention or thought to it. So this is an essential and important for you now to be aware of that space. That is part of a second. It will distinguish you as a leader, distinguish you as who you are, distinguish you as a person who is building himself or herself for the future, or even for the near future. So that is important actually to shed light on. So, and that is taking us to a different point, which is now how we can have this level of awareness as individual and leader. Now, we are living, and by the way, we are living in a very, very, very connected world, very busy world. Statistics says, الآن متوسط المعلومات اللي تعرض لها الشخص, if we go 100 years ago, one person equal to the whole nation in terms of knowledge. So imagine that when you wake up from time that you wake up to the time that you go to sleep, you are now seeing and exposing yourself to thousands, to unlimited number of information. And that busy world that you are living in, it's actually contributing and shaping who you are as a person. And that's actually also taking us to who are we associating ourselves with, who is our society, our community, our people. That is also contributing to ourselves as individuals. I'm seeing you, Lama.
No.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, and not unnecessarily in terms of who you're connecting with or the environment as a whole, but also I think one of the most important things when it comes to specifically that time between when the crisis shows up or that negative, whatever situation you have comes across and you need to take on that leader role, I think one of the most important things to use or utilize is the communism. And how you create, because the time you determine how you're going to interact with that person you're in a leadership relationship with is going to set how their relationship will go ahead further with you or not, how they're going to interact with you. Are they going to stay? Are they going to leave? I think everything is determined according to, again, how we respond to it. So I guess we can summarize this point now into that. Yes, situations are uncontrollable. However, how we react to them as individuals is the one that's going to determine the outcome and our relationships with the people we're dealing with, all in all, as a quick summary to what we were just saying. I think we need to move to another important point, I think more of a practical point to the people, because sometimes people go like, I think I have it in me to be a leader, but like, what are the key elements, in your opinion, that would make me stand out as a leader? I have the potential of being a leader, but like, again, what do I need to do to become one? So I think we can engage the audience at this point. So guys, please, in the chat box or raise your hands if you want to, in your opinion, what are the assets you need as an individual to be a leader? So we'll give you 10 seconds to answer that, and then we'll let the master answer. there is no right or wrong answer. Whatever you believe in, like what are the assets you think are assets that make a leader? So please just be comfortable. It's just a fun interactive session. No one's going to judge you on your answer. So please just write anything you feel is right, at least to you. Confidence, that's a good one. Good listener, that's a great one. You need to understand the environment you're in first and the people's mentalities to know what skills you need to acquire. Great. Empathy is very important. Great answers. So what's your take on it, Marwan?
Before actually I say what's take on it, actually I smiled when I saw Lena said, understand the environment. And she reminded me of a story with my daughter, Hayat. She is 4 years and a half now. When she was 3 years old, كنا قاعدين نتفرج على التلفزيون أنا وياها وجالسين. I asked her a question out of the blue. I told her, what do you want to be when you grow up? وش تبين تصيرين لما تكبرين? Out of the blue, she said, أبي أصير دكتورة. She was 3 years old. I said, oh, okay, that's a good answer. Didn't expect it, but yeah, okay. Few months forward, كنا مسافرين في المدينة المنورة، جالسين في إحدى الفنادق، وكذا الفندق مطل على الحرم. جالسين نتفرج على الناس اللي رايحين وداخلين، كبار سن، صغار، عوائل. فسألت نفس السؤال، قلت لها حياة وش تبين تصيرين إذا كبرتي؟ قالت أبي أصير عجوز. she understand the environment and the context. أول قاعد دكتورة والحين بتصير عجوز. yeah, she knows the context. And I totally agree that whatever written here in terms of confidence, good listeners, empathy, and also understanding the context is a thing. يعني they are always saying context is king. Wherever you are, that understanding this is actually a skill. Someone and everyone can learn it to understand our environment. Where are we? And in that environment, we can be understand what to say, what not to say, and this is an essential. طيب, when we say I want to go and tap into the point of a confident, being a confident, what does it mean? How it looks like? Confident, if we summarize it, that your decision based on consciousness, based on الوعي, on awareness, that I'm taking my decision and I'm aware of it, regardless of it. بغض النظر هل أنا عارف إنه القرار اللي أنا أسويه صح وغلط، لكن أنا واعي الآن إنه هذا التصرف اللي أنا أسويه بهذا الشكل. الشيء الثاني العكس من الكونفيدنس اللي هو إنه أنا having my fulfillment from outer world. احنا هذا يفرق بين انه احنا احيانا نحب المدح من الناس الخارجيين، من الخارج، من الناس اللي احنا نؤمن فيهم، من الناس اللي نحبهم, which is fine. لكن اذا كان my action, my life depends on that, this is created challenges. Whether أنا الآن when I see myself that I might looking at the outer world, خصوصا الآن ترى by the way في العمر الآن عمركم اللي هو في بداية العشرينات، في منتصف العشرينات، في نهاية العشرينات. الآن طبيعة الحال أنكم أنتم الآن تتأثرون بشكل كبير من الناس الخارجيين، هذا شيء طبيعي. لكن الآن كيف يكون التأثر؟ كيف أني أنا أكون واعي بتأثري بالمحيط الخارجي؟ هل أنا قاعد أقرر قراراتي وأتخذ قراراتي بناء فقط على آراء الآخرين؟ This is kind of that needs a reflection, that I need to think on why I'm doing this and how can I take a decision that I believe is true, and at the same time I can take opinion from people who I trust their opinion. So yes, confidence is essential as for a leader to be as one skills. Confidence, it doesn't mean that I have to be arrogant and not listening to others. No, it's actually, confidence means that you can be very humble. التواضع يعتبر من أعلى درجات سمة الثقة بالذات، أنك أنت تكون واثق. Either you are sitting in front or in the back. You are who you are. You are not a different person. Either you are a doctor or you are not a doctor. You are totally confident that you are a human being, that who is resourceful, who is complete. As a human being, yes, you are complete as and also as a confident. And also looking at others as who they are without any judgment. And that actually is a subtle point that I want you actually to look at and reflect on and see that sometimes when you look at people based on their position, based on their family, based on their color, based on their look, this is something that you need to reflect on, because this is not true. You are as who you are as a human being, and if you deal with others as who they are, you will live in peace with yourself and also with people around you. Also, another point, that being an empathetic person or having empathy skills, that you are understanding other people. And that actually is a very great point, that أنا الآن لما أكون شخص أفهم وأتفهم احتياجات الآخرين, this is create me as a leader. And this is actually one of the fundamental of leadership, is to understand people's need, understanding people's point of view, understanding people's position. And this is skills that I can gain also with a good listener, being a good listener. When I listen to others and understand the emotion that they are coming from, is give me the ability to be a very effective leader. And even statistically saying, and when you go to an organization as an entry level, you need to have a high level of technicality and sometimes not that high level of emotional intelligence. But when you go up into ladder of leadership, when you be on the top of that pyramid, غالبا الأشخاص اللي موجودين في القيادة العليا فوق يحتاجوا مستوى عالي جدا من emotional intelligence, understanding people. Why? Because their time now is 95% is dealing with others. So now imagine if you yourself now developing your skills of understanding your colleague, understanding of your friends, your family, that you are developing and training yourself to be a very effective leader from today. Also here it's mentioned good manipulator, but actually it's not manipulator. Manipulator having kind of, let's say, around the negative emotion or energy, but being a good influencer is the thing. Yes, it is a crucial skills. Yes, being a very effective influencers or persuader. And how can you be مؤثر في كلامك, مؤثر في آرائك, مؤثر في الأفكار? This is a very great skills. When you have this confidence, being good listeners and understanding your context, definitely, and understanding people emotion or people needs, then you can be a very great and effective influencers, which is a crucial and important skills that everyone can learn, can gain, and can have. So this is, let's say, more or less kind of a basic skills that we need to have. When is the good time for me to develop myself, to develop my skills? The best good time actually is yesterday. Second best time is now. Regardless where you are. إذا أنت الآن توك في أول سنة في الجامعة، في نهاية السنة في الجامعة، أول سنة وظيفية, regardless of where you are, you have the now to start. You don't have to make a condition. When I graduate, I will do. When I do tomorrow, when I become that position, I will learn. No, actually, it's from now, from this moment in time in your life, that you have now the awareness that there is a need that I wanted to improve in this area and in that area. What I need, and هذا سؤال لك, what do I need to learn today to be an effective leader? What type of skills? Write it down. And also, another point you can ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? Skills that I need to take out of my life, of myself, of my personalities, I want to say goodbye to. So, and then write them down. So you will have different point of view, things that you will take out and things you are gaining. And if we go to the first point, that leadership is a journey, it's taking the step from now, from this moment. So when that time in the future needed a leader, you will be ready for that. So yeah, we can close this point and
I guess we can 100%. But like, so just to summarize what we were saying, and I think one extremely important point, just to mention this or emphasize on it, is that confidence per se is something that's gonna elicit the formation of trust. And when you give the people you're working with the sense of trust, you allow more creativity to happen or to develop. I'm not saying that you're gonna sit in a room and you're gonna assign everyone as a leader, but like making people engaged, or giving them the sense of being involved. Your opinion, even if it were an opinion, doesn't necessarily mean like a major role or a job, is something that creates a difference. This creativity or this point they're going to add is something that's going to create loyalty. And loyalty, again, is going to give you better and better leadership and all of that. Another important thing you were talking about was self-reflection and self-discipline. This is very important. You need to do it every once in a while. I'm personally, as a person, I didn't really care much about the self-reflection and sitting and self-reflecting on different situations, but I found it very helpful to sit down and self-reflect on a certain, for example, act or a certain situation that might have happened, and just tweak myself accordingly. Like, is this something I should have done? Then what it is that this thing that needs to be eliminated, etc. So this is very important. I know what we're mentioning may seem ideal and like this beautiful unicorn-filled world, but like if you can take one at least and start with it today, that's more than enough for anyone to at least set a starting point. And I think this is one important thing. So you were talking about eliminating certain things. So again, in your opinion, what are the crucial things we need to eliminate to help uplift our leadership potential?
Yeah, thank you, Lama. I want to just tap into the point that you mentioned, is starting on one point. And this is actually a very crucial element and one key. Again, as we mentioned at the beginning, yes, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. ابدأ بشيء واحد. Very simple step, very silly, simple step today, and continue on that. And that is what do you remember 1 centimeter left on your campus? Is if you do it just once a day, one day, every single day, that it will change who you are. So don't say that I want to do everything from now. No, just start simply with one step, and that it will create that drastic change. What do I need to change to be a leader? We all live in our beliefs, in our values, and our principles that we gained from family, from friends, from society, from our experience. So I need to know actually what beliefs and perspective that I'm holding right now. What is my belief toward workplace? What is my belief on my colleague? What is my belief on so many things that I can put and see and have what is my opinion in. Just if I have this reflection, you will find out, you will be amazed from yourself what that belief that you are holding. And I can guarantee you, you will find so many of them actually non-true. What is my belief now for me in a workplace? For example, one of the belief that whoever is higher than me, he is right or she is right. This is a belief, for example, that I gain and learned. So I can learn now and question that belief. Is it true or not? Because this actually, it will
مساء الخير، هل الصوت واضح للجميع؟ الكونكشن كويس للجميع؟ Sorry, we have a connection error. Just give us a couple of minutes. We'll be right back.
Hello?
So we're back.
Yes, sorry, I lost connection.
That's okay.
Could you give me a host so I can turn on my cam?
Yeah, you can turn it on. You're a host now.
Okay, let me. It says that I cannot because the host. I'll try right now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All back. Welcome again.
Yeah, this is the working with internet. So sometimes, yes, it takes us from the flow.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking around.
Yeah, thank you. What we were talking about?
The assets or the different elements we need to eliminate in order to become a person.
Correct. So one thing that I need to know, yes, my belief, because the belief that I have, it actually determine my behaviors, and behaviors actually determine the environment that I'm in and I'm creating. So this is actually a kind of a reflective journey that you need to have. Secondly, when you gain the skills of listening and also gaining a skills of creating a safe environment with people that you trust, then ask for feedback. What one thing that I can change to be a better person, a better version of who I am? Then your people who loves you will give you gifts that would say one or two things that if you just change it, then that it will make a difference. Then once you take that feedback, just reflect on it before you just go and make a plan for changes. Reflect on it. Is it true? Go and see, is it true from your perspective? If yes, then please start making a small little plan to change one step at a time. Very, very small example. That's one of the skills that of the thing of the feedback. For example, saying that you are talk a lot and you are not listening. So now, how can I now change this element and listen more to people, and at the same time giving a space for others to speak and speak less? This is, for example, one thing. Another thing that you are always, you are not proactive. You're always waiting for us to ask you to do something. So how can I now reduce that element being passive and to move to being a proactive person? So this is also, I think, so there are so many things we can change because we are human. And again, this is a journey. So many things that you can change. But why I say belief, because it's fundamental for you and fundamental for every one of us as a human, because it determines our behaviors outside. One thing that one skills that I highly recommend everyone can have is to have a mindset that can hold different perspective. Being and learning this mindset and having different perspectives, it will give you variety down the road to discover more of who you are and change whatever things that you wanted to change without, let's say, going through a high level of pain, if we put it that way. So this is one element that I wanted to leave you with, which is gain that skills to hold different perspectives. So shall we go around for questions, Lama?
We can, but I just have one thing. In your opinion, what are the core principles a person should have in order to create this ideal leadership state for himself or herself?
Great question. One thing is you need to see, or one principles is be there for others. Be there for people around you. There are people around you, even one person that have a belief on you. Your parents, your siblings, your friends, your professors, name it. There are one person that have a belief in you. And also, even if those people not around you, yourself, you have yourself to believe in yourself. So be there for yourself, be there for others. That one. Second, take care of others and they will take care of you. Take care of their need, their thought, listen to them. And they will be there for you. Three, that there is no easy way for leadership, no easy way for success. Just have determination and continuity and consistency on what you are doing. Continue doing the good thing regardless of the reward, if you have it today or not. So there is no pivot way to the future, no pivot way to the success. Be aware of this. Four, that leadership is a journey. Learn it every single day. As you are studying now your course, your doctorate program that you are in, study self-leadership. And it's a journey. It will not finish by the university. It will not finish by your end of your work. It will not be just on the context of work. It's everywhere. So those are kind of a main principles. And also, yes, one of them that always be reflective and see and give yourself feedback always and learn from the experience that you are having. Have a reflective moment and time in your life. This is actually what creates experience. Experience, it's not just going through experience. You might going through so many experience, but without any learning. Reflect on each experience that you are going through, so that it will give you high level of awareness of who you are today and who you will become.
I 100% agree. Also, one important asset, I think, is holding yourself accountable for whatever situation you're placed in. I think accountability is very important. Rather than pinpointing and blaming when a certain project you're doing or a certain work you're doing fails or doesn't do the desired outcome you're looking for. I think this is extremely important, and it's part of, again, confidence and trust and interconnectivity with people. You shouldn't just like blame people around for things where in reality, if you were truly leading appropriately, you wouldn't really have to face such a situation where you have to pinpoint and blame. And I think the moment you do that, the moment you incorporate this in whatever situation you're in, this is something that's going to downgrade you as an individual. And 100%, this does not show whatsoever leadership skill at all. Honestly, I think this is one of the very, very important things you need to consider, at least when you're trying to, at least in certain positions where you're an intern or a student, because you do come across this a lot. You have a lot of clubs, you're leading small groups of students. Hold yourself accountable. I think this is super, super important. And I remember you said that you need to take care of people and you have to allow conversation to happen. This is something that's very important. It's not, when you say take care of people, it's not like coming across a person and going like, hey, how are you today? No, this is not what we're talking about. Sit down and ask them, how are you today? For real, like, how are you today? I think this is very important. This is something that can solve and tweak issues that you may come across or face in the working environment, at least. I'm not saying go personal, but like when you're asking the question, truly ask the question to know what it is the person is about, in my opinion, at least.
Yes. And this is actually, it shows the point that we mentioned, being influencers. When you take care of them and when you ask them genuine questions, you will be like a true influencers to them. Asking them about who they are and how are they today, that is actually a true, legit question that you ask people, and people actually will have this connection and being influenced by you.
Yeah. 100%. I guess, again, just to summarize what it is we were talking about in terms of what are the principles you need to have. You need to be a person who's accountable. You need to be a person who's empathic and truly conversing with the people you're talking about. Confidence is very important. One of the important things is also, I don't know, we were talking about this part where we said losing the hierarchy. I think losing the hierarchy is important, but you need to understand that losing the hierarchy when it's your communication with others. But there are certain hierarchies you can't control. So let's say you're in an establishment, there has to be the big boss or the CEO of it, right? And there is, for example, the person who's the vice or whatever. The hierarchy is still there and you have to show your respect no matter what. So when we tell you, listen to the people, lose the hierarchy, see what they have to say, we're not telling defy them or go against the flow. The hierarchy is always going to be there. It's just like when you're communicating with people, lose the hierarchy and self-ego within yourself. This is, I think, very important to highlight, because we don't want to create people who go ahead and go like, I don't believe in what you're saying because we don't believe in hierarchy. No, hierarchy is there and it's the right order of things. But the point is your self-interaction and dealing with people is what is important. So I just wanted to emphasize on this point as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I second that.
Yeah. So I think let's just open a bit the space and let people talk. I don't know, do you have any questions that you want to ask at this point of the lecture? Do you have any comments or additions you want to go for? I think now is the time, really. You can just, again, raise your hands. We'll unmute you, or you can chat away. I believe we have no comments. So I think we conducted this quite well, since the point, I guess, has been relayed quite well. It's been a fun hour.
Great. Yeah, so if anyone have a questions, feedback, clarification, I saw you guys, you put my email and you put my Twitter. I believe I'm responsive for that, so please feel free to ask. I will be there for you. And also, actually, I wanted to mention the program that can help you if you are interested as well in this program. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Dr. Lama, around Dare to Lead program from our colleague, Mrs. Rosanna Al-Banawi. And also she delivered a program that also for everyone can actually benefit out of it. And that program is kind of well-researched, study-packed and research-packed program, and it is done for different, let's say, people. Either you are a student, or even you are into a workplace, or even if you are in a high level of hierarchical position. That program actually is valuable, which is Dare to Lead, done first of all by Brene Brown, and delivered here in Saudi by Mrs. Rosanna Al-Banawi, and I highly recommend for anyone who are interested in this.
100%. We've linked it in the previous emails if anyone's interested.
Right.
You guys can go ahead and join it. I think it's been quite fun. I hope you guys learned. I hope you got the point you wanted you to attain or get. We hope you utilize it in real life. I really thank you for your time, Marwan. It's been quite a fun talk. Honestly, I hope you do it more frequently in the future. So thank you so much for your time.
And if you allow me, I'm seeing actually an important question.
Was it?
On the chat, if we can speak to that.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a question saying, can you highlight the things that a female have to overcome in a masculine company? This is very, very, very important questions. Now we are in a context of Saudi Arabia, and unfortunate to say, as an overall female going through a struggle that we are as a male we don't go through, and honestly to say that you are a fighter as a human being, as a female, whoever you are, wherever you are a fighter, and you are fighting through your success. I will highlight, let's say, a different point of view, and from that perspective, and seeing, and there are also another programs for women in leadership, but I will talk about it as a human to human. First of all, that when you are going in a masculine company and you are a female, go there and don't become someone else. Don't become a male, because you will never be. Be your feminine energy, with holding that, let's say, energy of respect and professionality, but be as who you are. What I mean by feminine energy, that you have a high degree and skills of understanding people's emotions. Honor that and own it and improve it. You have high skills of a connection, of a network. Honor that and own it. Also, as a female, you are. This is actually, I'm talking about kind of a general thing. You don't have to be a second male, or becoming a version of a male, because you are now going to fight in a losing game. No, go there with yourself. You remember as a confidence. So being a confidence, trusting in yourself. Trust that you are going there and knowing what is your skills, what is your power, what is your strength, what are the weaknesses, and honor what you have, and at the same time improve it, and learn from the other side, which is the masculine element. As a mindset, do not ever go in a fighting mood, because workplace is not a fighting, and it's not kind of a competition. It's kind of a giving. When you go as a giver person who wanted to make an impact and giving, that you are shifting your energy and you are working from a strength. Because again, also as a feminine energy, the giving part is kind of a high level of skills. So this is kind of a very highlight point that you need to think of and hold when you go to the workspace. And also shift your mind to think on what impact that I can make, what connection that I can create, what value that I can bring. every single human being on this earth have something to bring to this life, has something to bring to the workplace they are in. So look at those things. What can you bring? What value that you can bring? No one else that can bring but you. So yeah, this is an important element that just to think and changing in that mindset and belief with gaining these skills, it will create a whole different way of um, a whole different way of workplace, a whole different way of a dynamic of a group of work that you are going to work with. Um, and here's another question. The name of the book is Man Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl.
Need to comment just before you proceed because I'm seeing a lot of questions coming up again. So
Yeah.
questions came in. That's good. Anyways, I just wanted to comment on the female in a male predominant job or something like that. I don't think in the current or present time we're living in, especially the 2030 vision and the outlooks and the new generation we're dealing with, especially when it comes to the young men and women, specifically in Saudi Arabia, because this is where the lecture is being conducted and this is where we care about particularly. I personally don't see this gender variation or like saying that you're coming in a male predominant versus female predominant field. I don't think personally this is applicable anymore here. I think your job as a person, whether male or female, is to understand what are the skills I need to do, what is the job I need to perform, and you go ahead accordingly. It's not something that you need to tackle or deal with because you're in a male or a female predominant job. I don't think this, in the current era at least, is an issue anymore, in my opinion at least.
Yeah, we are heading to that.
We are heading in the change. You're actually seeing them. I mean, last years, and this is where the young generation is building towards. So I don't think it's the mindset itself where you have to change the thought that I'm stepping into this male predominant versus female predominant. I don't think this exists anymore, honestly speaking. So I think
I have an opinion here to say, even if we look at the Western world, there are still struggles, even they are advanced in that. And here we are heading toward exactly what you are mentioning, Dr. Lama, that we're not gonna have this barrier of mindset. However, we are going through that change. So imagine people who've been trained in different mindset for the last 30, 40 years, and now in a very short period of time that we need to make a switch and shift. So you are witnessing now the huge shift. Are we 100% went there? No, not yet. However, we are on the right way. That was my personal opinion, that we are heading to the right way. But you need to have also a perspective from yourself that you have to be yourself wherever you go, and what value that you are bringing, that you can bring, and focus on the impact that you are creating. Again, there are so many stimulus actions out there. It will provoke your action. Be aware of how you respond and create that shift in between. So yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what I'm leading towards. It's the situation. It's not being male or female or downgraded because you're a male or downgraded because you're a female. It's how you look at it. And this is the role of reading and seeing and speculating and understanding everything to push you forward and avoiding and overcoming actually these obstacles, if they were obstacles in the current time.
Yeah.
So this is what I was thinking of. There's this good question. Should I force myself to become a leader initially, or is it something or skills that should, I guess, is it something you need to like, or is it something you need to force yourself to?
Yeah. How about to do both? Force and love what you are forcing yourself. Force it and loving what you are doing, because it's a journey and it required commitment. Commitment sometimes that you doing the thing that you don't like. You are not in the mood to do it, but you have to do it and keep doing it all the time. So Leadership is, again, is a skills, it's a continuous journey. Enjoy the journey. You will not be, you'll not, in this journey in particular, you will not say, yes, I'm now at the end of the journey, so I'm stop learning or I'm stop doing it. No, actually, it's a journey that you will gain every single time that you are going through. So love the journey, not the destination. And don't attach to the destination at all. Just think and see and feel what you are doing right now, right here. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the failure, enjoy the challenges, enjoy the gain, enjoy the skills, enjoy the success, the winning. And also in all that journey, and look at it, look at yourself. Where are you 2 years ago, 2 months ago, and where are you today? And keep continuing this. And sometimes, yes, you will have the low time, the challenging time. Be there for yourself to pass that challenging time and move again to the rosy, beautiful time that you are having. I want to just tap into that other point, which is sometimes that you are downgraded because just you are a female, although you are competent. This is true. What you mentioned is true. And again, the world out there is not as we wish, unfortunately. So now, regardless of what is happening out there, what you can do right now? I can now spend days and days to talk about what is happening out there. But the question is, go again, what you can do right now, right here, to live in that brutal world. It is difficult sometimes, but again, I want you to reflect and see what you can do here, now, and today, and every day. There are so many things that you can reflect and see rather than being a victim of your situation. Ever do not be a victim of your situation, because I believe no one is victim. Everyone chooses their situation. So see and look what you can do, what you can learn, what you can gain. This is not easy thing, easy to say than done, but it required huge level of belief and commitment. Yeah.
100%. We have one question.
Yeah.
Did you catch the question?
Yeah. Can you highlight some skills to work on a daily and weekly basis, such as self-reflection? Daily or weekly? Yes. Sometimes that on a weekly basis, how can you have a beautiful conversation with others? And here's actually things that I wanted to mention, that I created a series of videos called Meaningful Conversations, where I meet actually people from all over the world having a meaningful conversation. And you can find it on Twitter. But here for you, go to your circle, even not a close circle, but people that actually you trust, and you trust their thought, and have 30-minute conversation, especially now actually with the technology that we have. Just go and have a weekly conversation with someone, one person, and definitely you will learn so many things from that weekly conversation, for example. This is one thing. Another thing that you can do, choose one thing. For example, I want to read one article, for example, every day. So you will learn two things. One, the knowledge from that article. Two, you will learn from the commitment that you are having. The commitment that you are learning and gaining to have a sense of commitment, skills of being determined. So choose one small step. This is one thing. Third element, what you can do on a daily basis, see by end of the day, when you wake up in the morning, how you want to spend your day. Just give it a thought, where I wanted to stay, where I wanted to see, what I wanted to say, who I wanted to talk to, how I can show up in my work. Even take it on a simple way, like decide today that I will not say any word that might hurt anyone, just today. So now you are like building small skills, small muscles where you can, now you are building a new personality in you. Having it on a daily basis, that it will have a greater impact on the long run. So yeah, this is kind of skills that person can have.
And sometimes I think self-reflection is not purely like self-dependent. You probably would want to sit alone, take on whatever situation you come across, and you write the pros and cons of it. But I think a good way also is to, I'm pretty sure in this very limited working field, I mean, the working field is quite broad, but like in the very limited community you're working very close to, I think there is a particular person you quite admire or you look up to. And I think there's no harm in observing how they deal with things, how they tweak things according to situations. And there's no harm in asking, like if you have a certain situation you don't know how to deal with, there's no harm at all to talk to, for example, a senior about it and see what their reflection is. I mean, their own reflection towards this given situation is. And this is a learning point for yourself because you're learning and then you're tweaking accordingly. And I think this is very important, honestly. So like you can self-reflect on your own, but like talking to someone would probably help as well.
Absolutely. Yes,
especially
indeed.
When you look up to it, especially also if it's someone in the same field, so they'll understand what's going on.
Yeah, and one of the value that actually I see and I learned that successful people, mostly they are generous of their time, of their knowledge. So please go and see and talk to them. Just be proactive, and they will be more than happy to share what they have, what they think, knowledge, skills, experience, advices. Just open up to them and take that one step. And this also, by the way, it's the journey itself. It will teach you to work against self or fear of rejection. This is one of the fear, let's say the universal fears that we have as a human. One of them is fear of rejection. So now when you go and speak to those, asking for those people, sometimes people actually are busy or they don't have the time, but you will gain and learn a high level of communication with them. It will not harm, it will not hurt you, but actually it will help you to grow and succeed wherever you are.
Yeah, 100%. So do
Great.
we have comments, any participation? I think we have time, honest. So it really depends on what you guys have to say.
I can share a last story with others, actually, that I learned. I graduated from UK. I studied master in international business. Specifically, actually, even I did my research around leadership culture and organizational culture. So that kind of an interest that for me with the leadership. So after I graduated, I said, okay, I want to learn, I want to try something new. I want to go out of my comfort zone. And I will see what I can do. And I decided to work actually in the UK. I said, okay, I want to work there. Whatever that position comes in, I will do that. I applied for several jobs, and one of it was being a salesperson. Being a salesperson, going out door to door, knocking doors and sell that product. And the product actually that was I selected or I was giving اللي هو isolation for the home زي العوازل الحرارية. So that was an interesting, and we had to go out. We go to the office from 9 to 12 p.m. And then from 12 p.m. to 6 in the evening, we were on the street, knocking doors, asking people to buy that. And every one of us, we were giving a map, خريطة الحي, and the street where we had to go. And then that time. So we go with the group, like 3 to 4 people. And then from that, we have a target to knock around 100 doors every single day. And imagine for a Saudi guy, look different than them, knocking doors, trying to sell. And imagine how is the response was. For the first 5 days, I sell zero. And I knock literally 500 doors. Then on the second week, my manager said, okay, let's do together kind of pilot, and we try, me and you, to gain some of the skills. And I was obviously, from that few first days, I was afraid of rejection. I was going there with the fears in mind that people will slam the door in my face and say, go out, or do unexpected reaction. So that fear was holding me. Actually, it was always in my mind. I was thinking before I knock the door, who are behind the door to open to me? What rejection that I'm having. So I have that expectation and that fear. So I did this element and this exercises with them. I tried once, twice, 10 times. And then after that, I start going back again. Day by day, week by week, actually, I start gaining more clients. So like around 15, 20 sales every single day. That was a huge success with knocking 100 doors. So I worked with them for around 4 months, and I assume that I knocked around 9,000 to 10,000 doors on that period of time. And I believe those 4 months taught me hugely, big deal, on so many skills, on how I overcome my fear of failure, how I overcome fear of rejection, how I overcome my thought, how actually I learn and gain skills of starting communication. And then when I reflect on my journey from the beginning to the end, I saw a huge different person by doing one thing every single day. Did I like it? Of course I hate it. Of course I hate it every single night. I was sometimes, actually, when I go during the night, I decided not to go on the next day in the morning, but I pushed myself to go back. I didn't like it when people slammed the door on me. I don't like it when people shout at me. I don't like it actually when people were angry and pissed off. But I was keep doing it every single day, 100 every days, every single day. And sometimes I gain, and sometimes I learn. I don't see it as a failure, but I see it as a learning skills. So this kind of a thing that helped me actually, even in my workplace, helped me actually to speak up, to be confident, to mention what I have in mind, and also to be aware of my fear. When I have my fear before I speak to someone, I have that level of awareness. How does that come? Come just with the practice. Can you make any other practice? Of course you can. Everyone can make a practice of one thing and one element, and definitely they can change that.
A great story, honestly. And I just want to comment on the fear point. I remember one of the greatest people I've come across, and I think of her as my mentor, honestly. I remember one time we were doing this thing, and she told me, what's the worst that can happen? And it stuck with me. This motto stuck with me. What's the worst that can happen? And I've been going forward ever since because of that. Because in day-to-day life situations you come across or you go through, what's the worst that can happen? If it's a request, you probably are going to have a no. You have different thousand doors to knock on or different opportunities to look for. So I think getting over your fear is always just taking a moment and asking yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And I think this is something that's going to push you forward towards it. And of course, the will. I mean, you showed it. You had this will to go forward and to proceed with that, which is a great story, I guess.
Yeah, thanks. Is there any other question? I see might be. Here is a question. If there is 3 important things to be in a leader, what should they be? 3 important things. If there are three important things. Um, showing up every time that showing up every time, whether you like it or not, showing up for yourself, for your work, for your friends, for your colleague, showing up every time. That is an important element. Taking care of yourself and of your people around you. Be servant for them rather than being arrogant. Being servant for them, and always continue doing what you are doing. So continuity, consistency, persistence. These are kind of three main elements, and you are including others within you, having that skills of continuity. You are becoming a reliable person, wherever you are, whatever field that you are in, but you are a reliable person. You showed up every single time for others. So that gain trust, gain safety and security for people. So they will believe, yes, if I'm with you, then I feel I'm confident, I feel safe, I feel held, I feel grounded. So yeah.
I agree 100%. Do we have
Great.
any questions, any comments? We still have time on us. I think we're good. No more questions. So you guys have the email of Marwan. You have his Twitter account. He's quite active there. You can contact him anytime. He's kind enough to offer his email to us and to you guys. So please feel free to talk to him anytime whenever you have something popping up. You also have the club. Feel free to talk to us at any time. And thank you so much for listening. We really hope you enjoyed this. You learned something from it, as we truly hope that this kind of series persists for future days to come. Marwan, thank you so much again for your time. Great talk. We learned a lot. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ola, for inviting me. Thank you for being with you. And yes, I enjoyed my time with you and wish you all the best, inshallah, in your journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you all very much.
Bye-bye.